Legends of War here, and today we're going to be rating a Doom stack. This one here has been marked as sort of a mid-game Doom stack. It's kind of like a cost-effective army that you could get early-ish on in the campaign. So it's only turn 45. We've got a generic Strigoi Ghoul King. He's not a Bloodline Lord. We've got 2 White Kings, a Necromancer, and a Banshee. I imagine the Banshee is primarily there for providing extra campaign movement range. But here's the thing about Banshees, getting a lot of them in the early stages of the campaign can be quite difficult, and even by turn 45, you probably wouldn't be having a lot of them, so he's probably specifically focused on putting it into this army. Alright, he's got a Crypt Ghoul in here, which I imagine this one here is just for capping cities because of the Stalk, and then the rest of them are Crypt Horrors. Now, they're not maxed out on experience, and I don't think he's got all the technologies associated with them, but the whole point here is to see that a army that hasn't yet reached its maximum potential, how well it goes up against sort of early-ish game armies. So we're going up against High Elves, specifically Yvres. They've got a much larger army. That is auto-resolve says that it's going to fail, so on very high battle difficulty. So the main thing that we're looking at here is how well does this army punch above its pay grade. You know, the auto-resolve doesn't think it's got that much of a chance. It doesn't even say Valiant defeat. And the auto-resolve's been fairly forgiving in Warhammer 3. So how well can it possibly get a victory? I'm not sure how we're supposed to use this army, apart from just throwing it at the enemy. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's jump in here and see how it goes. So, the benefit of a Strigoi Ghoul King commanding these particular units is that he reduces the upkeep costs of them and also gives them physical resistance. Not heaps, but it's better than nothing. Unless you're going up against demonic armies, physical resistance is pretty damn useful, especially on units that have a fair bit of regeneration. In the tech tree, there is a fairly early tech that you can get. I think he's researching it at the moment, but hasn't finished it. That gives them the hunger and also battle healing cap plus 50% or 100%, something like that. So potentially a lot more regeneration. Now, you wouldn't use the Strigoi Ghoul King for magic, which I assume that's why you've got the Necromancer there. Now, big question here is, what mount is he on? Okay, good. Good. On a fast mount, we can, avoid going into combat here, because these guys here can easily outrun him. The point of putting him on a Necromancer is really good if you've got a slow army. So, like, lots of melee infantry and just blob up, as long as they don't have area of effect or artillery. But with this, since we're just going to throw it at the enemy, this guy kind of needs to keep up and revive units that get severely damaged. Because yeah, we've got some fresh recruits here, so this will be interesting to see. How should we do this? Should we just charge in, or should we be waiting over here? I don't know if we should wait for all their reinforcements to show up, because I really don't know how this is going to perform. I know that Crypt Horrors feel a lot stronger in Warhammer 3 than they did in 2, but I'm not super familiar with them at this stage here, so I think waiting for the enemy to show up and considering how many spearmen they've got, and just waiting for them to completely surround us could be a mistake. And you wouldn't do that in your battles anyway. Even if the enemy was the attacker, you'd charge at them straight away. So, I'm not sure what the White Kings are for, apart from maybe taking out single entities, because that's something that the Crypt Horrors would struggle against. As for the Crypt Horrors, their entire purpose is stalking and vanguard deployment for sieges. There's not a siege, so just keep them out of the way. Do appreciate that being in there, but I'm not going to use it at this stage in the battle, because I think it'll just get annihilated straight away. Strigoi Ghoul Kings are good fighters. You could use that for taking out single entities. Keep an eye out on that one. And yeah, I think we just throw it at the enemy. By the time we get over here, the reinforcements will show up, and so here we go. So I don't think this is the kind of army that we should blob up with, especially going up against lots of archers, because we don't have that much armor. And with a bit of physical resistance, that's not really good enough to tank all of those shots, even if we've got lots of regen. So what we want to be doing is pinning everything down. We're fast enough to be able to do that.
It shall be. Quickly.
So just immediately go and take out this lord here with this one. You two come and help. Don't worry about the cavalry on the flank. Going specifically for their infantry in the front here. Pin these archers down. Mind. Yeah, he's got that. Don't worry about the breath attacks. We just really needed to get rid of this lord, and he's not really... That breath attack's not great for it. You can always use the breath attacks later. That's it. Pin them down. And the necromancer over here. Nobody's going for him. That's fine. We'll bring him in a bit later. Maybe bring him into the forest here. But I think it was a good call not to put him on the... on the corpse cart, because it just would have made him a sitting duck. Okay, this one over here, we got some units that are pretty vulnerable. I need to go and sort that out. Okay, I might actually need to... Now, I'll use this one's here magic. That's the whole point of it. Come on, get over here before he ends up getting wiped out. So, apart from those two units there, everything else is doing pretty well. Okay, you come over here.
I need blood.
Yeah, I can imagine this being a lot better with the battle healing cap, but also having been better in the previous build where the battle healing cap was bugged. But we all knew that that was going to end eventually. Don't worry about overcasting it, just a single cast will do. So Eltharian's coming over here pretty quick. We've smashed up the first army. We're never going to be able to catch that. Over here, this is all going pretty well. Okay, you might need to come around the back before this one walks right through you. It's definitely, I think, way more useful for people to see how non-maxed armies can perform, rather than these super-duper armies that are on turn 150, because I think a lot of people don't even get to that point in their campaigns. They're more or less done by that point. Alright, we've got Eltharian coming for us. I need the Strigoi Ghoul King to go after you. Again, don't be using that breath attack. This is not worth it when you're trying to take out single entities. Yeah, definitely a good call to put this one on a horse. We would have gotten smashed by Eltharian there. Okay, we can pop down the Curse of Years to slow down the damage that they're doing to us. And we can also pop down some zombies to soften up the charges a little bit. Okay, this guy's getting shot up. They'll die and rise. Yes. Okay, we're never gonna be able to catch these guys here, so just bring them over here where the fight's actually happening. Because what they're gonna do there is just distract us here. This one here needs to die so we can actually rout Wood Elves. Wood Elves. High Elves.
Time. Rise now, rise, rise. Serve my will.
Get this one over here. Again, don't need to use the Crypt Ghouls. We're getting a bit surrounded over here. It's kind of devolved into a bit of a blob. This guy here is getting targeted.
Of course. Now.
Yeah, the AI loves to Lord Snipe in this if it can. But we're still in reasonably good shape so far. This one here is just about at its heal cap.
So much death. Our time is
Keep it pinned down. This guy can heal.
Life is a phase. The winds are on. Their time has come. Now.
Okay, good. Because that was trying to get our wizard. Okay, I need to put down more zombies, especially considering there's so much cavalry here. They outspeed us. And the point of it is just to act as a meat shield. Eltharian's going down. We're still in pretty good shape. How are we going with these two guys here? How's this one doing? Yeah, it's fine. Come on. It's not doing anything. Get him over here. Actually, come over here. Okay, now might be an okay time to use a breath attack. Yeah, let's chuck it in over here.
Beautiful decay.
But since they're really targeting the... Oh, hang on, it's got the Helm of Discord. It would be good to pop that down there to debuff all that unit in the blob. Okay, that one over there needs the heck next.
Necromancer. With haste.
Good, Eltharian's going down. Good.
Destroy.
Now.
Alright, once again, let's pop down another curse of... Oh, hang on, how much magic do we have left? Not heaps. Not heaps. Maybe just hold off on that a bit. You know, if we had the Black Periapt, that'd be a different story, because we'd have essentially unlimited winds of magic, but that's not what we got. Let's someone take this one out here.
Quickly. Attack.
Yes. Awake, minions.
Yeah, we've got a few units that really need to be pulled out of combat.
Enemy spellcaster.
Because they're done. Increasing the battle healing cap would definitely have been useful for this army for sure. We've also got Wind of Death. I could use it, but we're here to test out the Crypt Horrors.
My God, why is he not using Wind of Death?
Serve my will.
Quickly.
We've all seen Wind of Death
Still
stacks
my
before.
beating heart.
Strigoi Golki.
I think the Strigoi Ghoul King has a skill in his skill line that gives him additional battle healing cap. Oh man, still a lot of units over here coming. I need to be able to charge in here, but we're bogged down. Alright, cool. We killed the enemy lord. So, routing... So what we could do is get the attention of all these archers, just keep them busy on the Strigoi Ghoul King while they finish up over here. Come on, I need to get these ones that have used up all their battle healing. I need to get them out of here.
Moving.
Okay, move these to the back. The cavalry's just not letting us go. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff going in here. We need to delay them. But this fight over here should be done fairly soon. I need to Helm of Discord them.
It is time.
Let's get these ones here out. Let's move them to the back of the battle over here. Could go over there and just Wind of Death them, but we're here to see how the Crypt Horrors are doing. So far, they're doing really well. Especially considering they're not at full strength. So we'll have a look when we get into the campaign map exactly what more can be done. Good, these guys are freed up. Let's go and pin down these Crypt Horrors. These archers. Give a bit of flanking over there. How about you guys come around the side here, flank into them? Because we kill the enemy general, we should be able to cause a rout fairly easily. Got magic again. Let's pop that down. All the other Crypt Horrors are in good shape. Yeah, these ones over here should just deal with any dregs that have gotten away from the main group. Now what we need to be... Okay, now what we need to be doing is just pinning down the archers so they don't rip us to shreds, because we are quite vulnerable to that. Managed to hit these ones here in the rear, so that's smashing them up, and we've got one more breath attack to do. I'm gonna hit my own units. I really want to hit in there, but just it's just not a good one. Let me try from the other angle. Okay, look, we don't need to be running back this far. All we need to do is just stop their what are you doing? Stop their archers from absolutely smashing us.
Strigoi Golki.
Okay, that angle there might be best. Yeah, you gotta be careful when doing breath attacks in amongst your own monstrous units, because they've got larger hitboxes. You can actually end up hitting your own units if you're not careful. And typically speaking, wherever the circle for the breath attack shows, that's where it's going to hit. And unfortunately, you can't aim at specific locations. You have to aim at a unit. Sometimes the unit aiming spot is just not ideal. Alright, we got a few units that are at their max healing cap. So, put them at the rear. And yeah, just have them sort out these routing units. line them up. They could use a bit of a rest.
Life is a phase. With haste.
So here's also hits cap. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing. I think what happened here is that they gauged that they were losing the battle and then just sort of backed off a little bit, maybe to go get a better defensive position. I'm not sure. Because I know we're the attacker in this scenario. We can still use these guys, it's just that we should try to spread out the damage as evenly as possible.
Will join us.
It shall be.
The dead are mine. You will. Now.
Fireball incoming, but we can use the terrain to block that shot, I think. Okay. Yeah, they're just forming up again. Alright, just back off. Alright, I might use any unit that has 16 troops in it, even if it has used up its healing cap. Because I feel like if I charge into that with only half my army, we're just not going to pin down enough of their stuff. Hang on.
Orders.
Let's get these guys here off the battlefield in the meantime, and maybe recover our fatigue. Because if they're not going to come at us, that's fine. I think the reason why they're not coming at us is because we have done no ranged or, like, spell damage to them. So yeah, let these guys here recover their fatigue. And then we probably want to stay away from the trees over here and just attack as much as possible over here. For one thing, we'll be able to get these guys here off the battlefield easier than these ones, but also we don't want to be fighting in areas where we're debuffed. Alright, now, just leave the ones that have lost entities out of the battle. And everything else, maybe this one here is taking enough damage. These ones here, form up, charge in, but don't focus too much on this flank here, because that's their strong point, and this is their weak point. And typically speaking, you always attack their weak spots. So what I do with these charges is that I use the alt-drag method just to bring them in line, rather than giving them specific move orders. If I give them specific attack orders right now, what ends up happening is these guys have a tendency of shifting, and so sometimes you end up charging into a unit that wasn't in the position that it was originally, and they end up not getting a good charge in. So what you want to be doing is giving the charge order. See what they're doing here, they're moving around. You want to be giving the charge order at the very last second. It does require a little bit of extra micro skill, but you get a better result out of it. And see, units that were originally in the front are no longer in the front.
Destroy.
With haste.
That's it. Really try to aim for the archers, because that's what we're most vulnerable to. These ones here, just shatter us at the back here.
Necromancer. The winds are rising.
That's it. Aiming specifically for the archers, and they're really gunning for the Lord again. Okay, is that his healing cap just about now?
Everywhere is death.
Quickly.
Alright, we've got incoming over here, but they should be able to handle it.
Yes.
These cavalry off the battlefield here. And there's the army losses. Cool. Well, this definitely handled this better than what the auto-resolve said, and with not really that much damage. Another thing to consider as well is that we were more than capable of popping down at least 1 or 2 winds of death. What is this, unbreakable? Yeah.
Moving.
And this has not reached its full potential yet, so you could go up against a little bit more with this having been made stronger. For one thing, they don't have that much experience. But another thing is that the technology hasn't been done. This guy's only ranked 21. But yeah, Terrorgeist make for good shooting practice because you've got a lot of missile resistance, physical resistance, and ward save here. And this guy does have a lot of regen. So it can act as a distraction because the AI just loves shooting at your lords so that your Cryptoris can get in there. Because 56 speed is okay, but it's not like as fast as cavalry. It does take them some time to close in. The faster they close in, the fewer volleys they'll eat. And at no point did we need the Crypt Ghoul here. And they did go up against a lot of spearmen and a lot of archers, the things that these guys here are weak against. Interesting. Plus a legendary lord. The cavalry I don't think was particularly useful against this. Typically speaking, cavalry is not good against monstrous infantry. Unless it's specifically anti-large, which those were not. So Bretonnian cavalry as an example, Grail Knights would be a problem for it, but you're not going to encounter that many Grail Knights in the early stages of your campaign. And I can see the value of these 2 White Kings. You know, getting extra White Kings is not super quick, but 2's not too bad. Necromancers are easy to get. And this doesn't allow us to replenish at all, really. So just take the money. Alright, now let's have a look at things and see what more can be done to make this better. So let's have a look at his equipment first. Yeah. Decent. What's going on, game? What's going on? I was probably just saving. Okay, let's have a look here. So, there's the one for reduced upkeep cost on Crypt Horrors. And that there is physical resistance and leadership for Crypt Horrors. And also Crypt Ghouls, but that's obviously not the focus here. That's just for Crypt Ghouls. Yeah, so there's more missile resistance there for him. That would have been really handy. Yep, I agree with going down this line here. This makes him a lot tankier. And through Immortal Horror, you got Battle Healing Cap plus 50%. So you got Creatures of the Night here, which gives Weapon Strength and Charge bonus. What have we got over here? When do they come in with this? Yeah, here it is. Melee attack, Weapon Strength, and additional physical resistance for Crypt Horrors. So that's pretty good. That's a really good bonus for them to have. So they can end up with 20% physical resistance. Which is decent, and don't see anything else here that would boost Crypt Horror specifically, except for maybe that. And then if we have a look at these technologies, we've got Cannibalistic Ritual, which gives them the hunger, so they get faster regen while they're in melee, and Battle Healing Cap plus 50%, which would have meant in that particular battle, and it's only one turn away as well, in that particular battle, the damaged units might have been healed to full had we had that extra 50%. Because that 50% equates to half of their maximum health. That would mean 5,000 extra hit points to heal. That's quite a lot. Plus keeping them healthier and alive for longer, well, you know, alive. Keeping them active longer before they end up losing models means you're dishing out damage for longer before it starts getting wrecked. And through here, isn't there some stuff that improves Crypt Horrors? No, just raise the dead pool. Allowing you to replace them a lot easier. So getting Crypt Horrors is not difficult to do if you go down the Strigoi bloodline. Not difficult at all. If you, yeah, gotta get to the tier 3 one. Okay, cool. So, alright, in terms of rating this, how practical is this? It's actually surprisingly practical. Because these are very common units that you'll be able to find in most of your areas. Not here, but it doesn't own this province yet. It's only turn 45. Getting Strigois is not a problem. Oh, okay, this one is actually a bloodline. Sorry, I thought it was a generic Strigoi. My bad. I guess we should have a little bit of a look of a comparison of a regular Strigoi and see if there would be any serious difference. Yeah, okay, so the big difference here is the skills up this way. So if you didn't use a Strigoi bloodline, you wouldn't get access to monstrosities of more, so reduced upkeep cost, and the Grotesque Court for physical resistance, and also Grave Eaters. You'd miss out on these 3. And I think you miss out on these as well. Let me just double check that. So that means you can get 3 of these armies, you know, without too much difficulty. And I find in the early games, Strugoys are actually pretty good because of their regeneration right off the bat. Yeah, the Bloodline Lords are definitely better. Yeah, my mistake there. I thought it was just a generic one, but it's actually a Bloodline. Alright, so in practicality, you'd probably get 1 or 2 of these in the early stages of the campaign without too much difficulty. Getting the 3rd one requires 12 blood kisses. You might be better off prioritizing some of the other ones first. So let's just say 1 or 2 of these armies is fairly practical. Getting a couple of heroes in here, it's fairly easy. If we have a look at Banshees, they used to be increased in limit at tier 5, but now they've been reduced down to tier 4. Getting to tier 4 does not take that long in Warhammer 3, and the growth rate is fairly quick. So, that shouldn't be a problem putting in a Banshee into your army, just for the... That's a fresh one as well, just for the extra campaign movement range, which is really handy. What are the traits of these ones? Are they all disciplined? No, they're not all disciplined. He's got 2 discipline in the army, so that's boosting the stats by a little bit. Yeah, so it's quite practical. It's quite strong. There's definitely weaknesses to the army, but in the earlier stages of the game, as long as you're not dealing with endgame crisis armies, you know, depending on when you want to set that stuff up, this really should be able to beat most armies you go up against quite easily. And as long as you've got some healing, you can regenerate a lot of your casualties quite early on. This is a fairly easy technology to get to. He obviously didn't prioritize it, which is totally fine. But yeah, that's not going to take long to get to, and that's very useful, the battle healing cap, especially for after the battle, so you can essentially regenerate to full, so you can just keep fighting battle after battle after battle. Their speed really comes in handy, and they get even better once they get fully leveled up. And in terms of ease of use, I suppose that's where it's going to lose a little bit of points. You do need to have a little bit of micro. This isn't the sort of army you can just blob up and Wind of Death, unless you're going up against something that has absolutely no missile attack. Otherwise, you do need to be rushing in there and pinning things down, especially going up against things with loads of archers, which most armies in this game that you go up against will have a fair few archers. From Bretonnia to Empire to Tomb Kings to Kislev, they're all going to have archers, so you're going to need to rush at them. But having some degree of micro skill is kind of required in this game, so it's not the most difficult army to use, but you can't just brainlessly just click once and be like, oh, I'm done. That's not gonna work so well for it. So overall, it's a good mid-game army. I'm pretty impressed with it. It performed a lot better than I thought it would. So, just in summary, quite practical, quite strong, sort of medium ease of use. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this particular mid-game Doomstack, whether you like it or dislike it, whether you agree with my rating. Don't forget to hit that subscribe. We're well on track to reach the goal for the end-of-year charity live stream. However, you guys need to keep subscribing if you want to do This Is Total War campaign, because things have been slowing down just a little bit, but I do appreciate everyone that is subscribing. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.